This will define everything. Travis Green has built a system that makes the Senators one of the most difficult teams to play against, but it all comes down to one position to make or break the Senators' success. Hello everyone, I am Eoghan Drumm, and welcome to Senators Digest, where we talk all things Ottawa Senators. Today we will be making our final video going into that article that the Hockey News released about the 5 players on the Senators with the most approved going into next season. Today we'll be covering 2 players in that article, but 2 players that are vital to where the Senators could eventually end up going with their successes. I will be revealing those players shortly, but before I do, please go down and hit that subscribe button. We noticed around 92% of our viewers are not subscribed. It is 100% free, and if you are an Ottawa Senators fan, or even just a fan of the league in general, and you want to stay in touch with the latest news and rumors about the Ottawa Senators, this is the place for you. So please go down and hit that subscribe button. Alright, so like I said, we will be going back into this article that the Hockey News released a few days ago about the 5 players on the Senators with the most approved in 2026-27. Like I said, we'll be covering 2 of those players, 2 players that played the same position, and the first one of those, the main man in net, Linus Ullmark. Ullmark is heading into his 3rd season with the Senators after being traded to the team after the 2023-24 season. And, you know, Ullmark, he's had some up and down seasons with the Sens. He's had some really good stretches where he's looked like that Vezina-type goalie that we've seen from him, but he's also struggled at times, and which has, you know, affected really the seeding for Senator going into the postseason the past 2 years. So let's just get into what this article had to say about Linus Ullmark. So Ullmark might have the most approved of anyone on this list. We've seen stretches where he has looked exactly like the Vezina winning goaltender from 3 years ago. We've also seen stretches where he hasn't been good at all. Ullmark has never played more than 50 games in an AHL season, and going back to his Boston days, he's clearly at his best when he's in a platoon situation and getting plenty of in-season rest. Between his personal leave of absence and the Olympic break, Ullmark played in just 4 games between December 27 and March 3rd. After that, he was noticeably better over his final 17 games of the regular season, although his save percentage was still .870 or worse in 7 of those games. He was then the Senators' best player in the playoffs, saving his best for last with a .932 save percentage over 4 games. And bear in mind, based on last season's numbers, a .910 save percentage or better puts a goalie among the NHL's elite. Ullmark needs to prove during the regular season that he can be more consistent, more available, and worth his $8.25 million salary. Even if absolutely everything else goes according to plan, the Senators won't be able to find the next level unless their goalies do. So obviously, a little harsh there on, you know, Ullmark being a little more available. Obviously, last year he had his personal leave, so I'm not gonna diss him for that. That was his personal decision, and I respect him for doing that. But when he has played, especially at the start of the seasons, he has struggled. The past 2 years, he's really struggled at the start of the year. And, you know, the Senators they've had to battle back to make the playoffs in those 2 seasons, especially last year. Last year, they really had to battle back. Mind you, the backup goaltending situation that was going on did not help at all, where they were losing a lot of hockey games and really, really had to battle back into that playoff spot. But when Ullmark did return, he was lights out and gave the Senators a chance every single night. Made the saves that he had to. Obviously, the Sens don't give up a lot of high-danger chances, and that goes perfectly into Ullmark's play style. You can just make the solid saves, the solid positional saves. The Senators will be in a great spot. And yeah, let's just take a look at his stats from last year. 28 wins in 49 games played. Only 12 losses. So in the end, yes, he had some very good numbers. .891 save percentage, which is a little below league average. But you know, that's still a fine number. Like we saw in the article, .910 save percentage puts you in the NHL's elite goaltending category. So, you know, if you can just get that number up a little bit, the Sens would be in a great position. And yeah, he has done it in the past. Let's just look at his career statistics. In 2022-23, 938 save percentage. That's absolutely ridiculous. Went 40-6 that year. Obviously, that was the year that the Bruins had that record season. And then the next season, 23-24, another solid year. 915 save percentage, and 24-25, also a 910 save percentage. His first year with the Senators. Again, he didn't have the greatest start with the team, but he battled back and was able to get into that high save percentage. So he is capable of being elite. The problem is he hasn't played over 50 games at any point in his career, and that is something I think will have to change if the Senators have any ambitions of making it far and or getting a good seeding spot for the playoffs. Obviously now they have acquired a new backup goaltender who also was on the article from the Hockey News about players with most approved going to next season, and we all know the name, Samuel Ersson. We have talked about him on this channel as well. So yes, Ersson was a guy that the Senators acquired this offseason and then signed to an extension. So let's just see what the article has to say. Staios isn't shy about telling people that goalie evaluation isn't his strongest suit. He relies heavily on his goalie coaches, Justin Peters and Maciej Schwak, sorry if I mispronounced that, who likes Ersson's movement and fundamentals and thinks he's better than his Philadelphia Flyers number suggests. After Carter had to step away from the Flyers during the 2023-24 season, Ersson became the number one for the next year and a half. But after a coaching change, Dan Valera got the lion's share of starting last season. Ersson's .870 save percentage last season and career .884 save percentage through 143 games in Philly aren't particularly impressive. But the Sens goalie whisperers see enough potential that Staios gave him a 2-year contract. Ersson will be out to prove that they were right. If he can give Ottawa 30 reliable starts and simply make the saves as an NHL goalie is supposed to make, he'll have done his job. So yes, he just needs to provide some sort of stability for Linus Ullmark. Ullmark, he's had some injury past as well, and like we saw in his stats, he's never played 50 games or above. So that is a number, like I said, I think Ullmark will have to get to for the Senators to have success. 50 solid games. He can't be starting the season like he has been the past few years. He needs to get off to a good start, and Ersson just needs to provide some stability. Is Ersson going to be perfect? No. I don't expect Ersson to be a top-class goalie. He hasn't been for the past few years. Just take a look at his stats over the past couple years. It's been pretty messy, to say the least. As we see here, last year, really not a good year. Only played 33 games and .870 save percentage. Did get more wins than losses, so that is a positive. He did lose a starting role. In his first full season, .890 save percentage, solid. 23 wins, 19 losses, 2.82 goals against average. I think anything below a 3 goals against average for this Senators team is plenty to get the Senators enough wins to get into the playoffs. Obviously, you'd want that number to definitely be more in the 2s. But these two players are vital for where the Senators want to end up. They need to be on their game. They cannot be allowing these soft goals that, just a little wrist shot from the side of the circle, or, these no screen shots from the point. They need to be able to make these easy saves. Because like I said, the Senators don't give up much defensively. They are very locked down in the slot. They cover their men very well. So they just need to make the saves that they have to. When James Reimer was playing at the end of the year, he was able to get a good amount of wins because he just didn't have to face that many shots. Then he made the saves that he had to at the end. If they can replicate that this year for Samuel Ersson, and then the games that Ullmark plays, he's just able to keep it steady, not allow any more than 3 goals on most nights. I think the Senators will be in a great position going into next season, and hopefully the goaltending can get a good start right off the bat, get into a good spot in that tight Atlantic division, because it is going to be a very competitive division. I would say at this point there's probably 7 teams that are battling for a playoff spot. I'd still include Boston because they did make the playoffs last year, And Toronto, I'd say they are back this year. I really like the moves that they have been making. Then you have Buffalo, Tampa, Florida. I'm blanking on one. Detroit, I don't believe will be making a push. Montreal, obviously. Yeah, Montreal, that's a team I was forgetting. That. Montreal, they obviously made the conference finals last year. So yeah, very tight Atlantic division. Goaltending will be key. If they can just get the solid goaltending that they've been trying to find for years now, they've been cycling through a lot of goalies. They have Cam Talbot, Korpisalo. Now they have Ullmark. It's just a matter of time. If they can get it all together, this team can go on a big run. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Linus Ullmark faces the most pressure on this team next season? And what is the ceiling for the Senators if Ullmark and Ersson are able to create a solid tandem for this team? Let me know down in the comment section. And also, let me know if you have any video suggestions that you'd like for me to cover over the next few weeks of the offseason before we get into training camp. Let me know down in the comments. And another reminder, please go down and hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel out a bunch and allows you to stay updated with Senators Digest content. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.